Good morning, students. Welcome to Narayana Live Classes. Myself, Sanmesh, and today we are going to discuss Class 8 Physics assignment, which was provided to you on 24th of June. This assignment is based on the topic Some Natural Phenomena. Let us start. So, our first question is, what is lightning? Again, I repeat my question, what is lightning? Now, let us try to understand the process of lightning with the help of an diagram. Now, during stormy days, what happens is the direction of air current moves in upward direction, whereas the water droplets moves in the downward direction. Now, due to this, there is a vigorous motion in the clouds. Let us say I've drawn a cloud, and due to this type of vigorous motion, there are separation of charges. Inside the clouds, there are separation of charges. So, I can say the negative charges are accumulated on the lower side of the cloud, on the lower region of the cloud, whereas the positive charges, they get accumulated on the upper region of the cloud. Now, what will happen is we have learned the process of charging by induction. For example, this is my ground. Now, if these negative charges are brought near or close to the ground, what will happen is initially the ground is neutral, but the negative charges in this ground will get repelled, and the ground will have a net positive charge near the surface due to charging by induction. Now, usually what we would think is the lower region of the cloud is negatively charged and the ground is positively charged. So there will be an electrical discharge between the ground and the cloud. But there is air in between them, which is not a good conductor, which is a poor conductor. So this air, it stops the electrical discharge between this negative charges and the positive charges. But when the magnitude of this negative charges, if it increases, if it is tremendously high, even after that, if the air is still like poor conductor, even if it is poor conductor, it is unable to resist the electrical discharge, and we get a streak of lightning. So these flashes are produced, and these flashes are known as lightning. So basically, lightning is an electrical discharge process. So to write the answer to this question, the entire process, during the development of thunderstorm, the air current moves in upward direction, as I said, and the water droplets move in the downward direction. And this vigorous movement causes the separation of charges. As we have seen, the vigorous movement between the air current and water droplet causes the separation of charges. Okay, so by the process which is not yet completely known. Now, just now I have said that the positive charges get like accumulated on the upper region of the cloud, and the negative charges, they get accumulated on the lower region. Why exactly this happens? This process is not exactly known. Okay, so by the process yet not completely known, the positive charge collect near the upper edges of the cloud, and the negative charge accumulate near the lower edges. So there's an accumulation of positive charge near the ground also. As we have seen, there's an accumulation of positive charge near the ground also due to the charging by induction, as I've discussed. So there's an accumulation of positive charge near the ground. Fine. So when the magnitude of the accumulated charge becomes very high, so when the magnitude becomes very high, even the air, which is normally a poor conductor, it is no longer able to resist their flow. So if the magnitude of the accumulated charge becomes tremendously high, even the air cannot stop their discharge. And the negative and the positive charges, they meet, producing the streaks of bright light and sound. We see these streaks as lightning. We call these streaks as lightning. So I hope the process of lightning is clear. Let us proceed further to the next question. Question number 2, how far away from the storm lightning strikes? Question number 2 is, how far away from the storm lightning strikes? Now, exact distance, nobody knows. Okay, the maximum possible distance no one has accurately measured, but we can say that around like more than 10 miles from the storm in an area of a clear sky above. For example, if this is my stormy region here, let us say this is the ground. So this entire region is the stormy region where the thunderstorm occurs. So 10 miles away from this region, like so 10 miles away from this region, the lightning can strike, even if there's a clear sky, even if there's a clear sky above. So approximate distance we can take is 10 miles. Let us proceed to the next question. Question number 3. Where does lightning usually strikes? Again, I repeat my question. Where does lightning usually strikes? Now for a lightning, there we need a special type of cloud which is known as cumulonimbus cloud. The special type of cloud is known as cumulonimbus cloud. This is also known as thunderstorm cloud. It is also known as thunderstorm cloud. Now let us understand how this thunderstorm cloud is formed. Usually in the summer days, the ground becomes hot, right? During summer days. So what will happen is this hot ground will heat up the air above it. So there is an unstable motion. Now when air becomes hot, it rises. Okay, so there's an unstable motion of air in the upward direction, like this. So when the air rises, now at the higher altitudes or higher heights, the temperature is very less. The temperature is very less. So this hot vapor, it condenses, and if the temperature is below, let us say, freezing point, if the temperature is below freezing point, it turns into tiny particles of ice. So again, these particles of ice, they will be in a continuous random motion, and there will be a friction between those ice particles, and again we'll get separation of charges, and there will be a lightning. Now these conditions are usually like they occur where there is a high moisture in the atmosphere. Also, if there's an hilly region, the mountains, they support the net upward motion of air. So if there's a mountain in the region, that mountain supports the net upward motion of the hot air. So lightning comes from parent cumulonimbus cloud. This cloud is also known as thunderstorm clouds, and are formed especially when there's an unstable upward motion of vapor and when there is enough moisture in the atmosphere. So if there's enough moisture, it is a favorable condition. Okay, to produce deep clouds that reaches up to a level which is colder than a freezing point. Just now I have discussed. Now if this water level, it rises up to a certain height, and if at that height the temperature is like below freezing point, then there will be a formation of tiny bits of particles of ice, and again there will be an friction and separation of charges and so on. Okay, so there should be enough moisture to produce deep clouds that reaches up to level which is colder than the freezing point. And also the presence of mountains in the region supports the strong upward motion of moisture. Okay, moisture and the water vapor. So if there is a mountain in the region, it will support a strong upward motion of the water vapor and the formation of storm clouds. Now usually, to name few places, these conditions are mostly favorable. There is a place in US known as Florida. So in Florida, between Tampa and Orlando, these conditions are usually favorable. Also in the western mountains in the US. Okay, in this place, Florida, between Tampa and Orlando, the moisture is quite high. So that's why formation of storm clouds is like easier. Whereas the western mountains, they support enough upward motion for the vapor for the formation of storm clouds. In India, I can name like a place like Northeast. In Northeast, we have hilly regions where the formation of storm clouds are like frequent. So these are the favorable conditions for the lightning. I hope the point is clear. Let us proceed further to the next question. Question number 4. Can lightning be detected? Again, I repeat my question. Can lightning be detected? Answer is yes, of course. Now, lightning is in the form of electromagnetic radiation. So when the lightning occurs, they like spread out, they give away pulses of electromagnetic energy. And these pulses can be detected with the help of antennas or a network of antennas. Now, since 1980, cloud to ground lightning flashes have been detected and mapped in real time across US by several networks. So in around 1980s, US had several like network of antennas which used to detect this pulses of electromagnetic energy which is created by lightning. Okay, so in 1994, these networks were combined into one national network that contained antennas that detect angle from ground strike point. So what do you mean by that? For example, if lightning occur at this particular point and I have an antenna here, so this antenna will measure the angle from the ground strike point. For example, this angle theta. So this angle will be measured by this particular antenna. So US had such networks of antennas in around 1994. Okay, this network of antenna was operated by Global Atmospheric, owned by Vaisala. Okay, now flashes, these flashes can also be detected with the help of space satellites. Okay, now space satellites, they have optical sensors. Okay, the space satellites, they have optical sensors. With the help of these optical sensors, we can detect these lightning flashes. But it has one like disadvantage. It cannot differentiate between cloud to cloud lightning or cloud to ground lightning. Okay, it cannot distinguish between cloud to cloud and cloud to ground lightning, whereas this network of antennas, it can distinguish. Okay, I hope the point is clear. Let us proceed further to the last question, which is very simple to answer. What type of damage can lightning cause? Last question is, what type of damage can lightning cause? Now, there can be, lightning can cause direct impact or an indirect impact. Cloud to ground lightning can kill or injure people by direct or indirect means. For example, if there's a direct impact on a person, it can be literally, it can be fatal. Okay, or if there is no direct impact, lightning can also affect by indirect impact. That is, lightning can branch off to a person from a tree or a fence or a pole or other tall objects. That's why it is advised to not stand under a tree or a light pole when, especially during stormy or lightning days. Okay, so lightning can like branch off to you from a tree or a fence or a pole or a metal pole or other tall objects. Similarly, other objects can be directly struck, and this impact may result in explosion, burn, or total destruction. For example, lightning can affect vehicles also and other objects also. Sometimes the current may enter a building and transfer through wire, through plumbing, and damage everything in its path. So it can also affect the buildings. So lightning in some instance can be very dangerous. It can cause tremendous destructions. Okay, so all these are the damages which the lightnings can produce. I hope all the solutions are clear to you all. Thank you so much.